Listen closely, because what I'm about to say is not by accident. You didn't just click on this video. You were led here, drawn by a divine pull that's been chasing you for years, even in the moments you thought you were forgotten. Hear me when I say this. You are the chosen one, and everything that was delayed, every prayer that felt like it bounced off the heavens, was never denied. It was positioned, delayed, held for the appointed time, and beloved, that time is now. There is a shift happening, not around you, within you. Something ancient in your spirit has stirred again. Maybe it's because you've reached your breaking point. Maybe it's because the warfare has been louder than your praise lately. You've been misread, underestimated, even cast aside by people who never saw what God hid inside you. They saw the scars, not the oil. They saw your wounds, but not the warfare you survived to still be standing here. But God saw, and now He's moving swiftly. There's a reason the pain lingered, a reason the blessing took longer than you thought. And it wasn't because you weren't worthy. It's because what's coming is bigger than you imagined, and it required a different version of you to carry it. You had to be crushed before you could carry this oil. You had to be isolated before heaven could reveal what was always destined to be activated in you. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not late. You are right on time with God's divine calendar. Think about it. Why did the doors close when you were ready? Why did the love you poured into others not return the same way? Why did it feel like everyone else was winning while you were barely surviving? Because God was building something sacred in the shadows. He was hiding you in plain sight, not to punish you, but to preserve you. You were too anointed to be exposed before the appointed time. You were too chosen to be launched prematurely. Do you remember the nights you cried out for clarity, for justice, for even a sliver of relief? Heaven was silent, but it wasn't absent. Your tears weren't wasted. They watered something divine, something that will now bloom with fire and favor. And I need you to understand this deeply. The delay wasn't rejection, it was redirection. God delayed it to align everything in your favor so that when He moves, nothing and no one will be able to stop the blessing, sabotage the opportunity, or delay your rise again. And now something is about to break, something in the spiritual realm. If you've been feeling restless lately, if your dreams have been louder, your sleep disturbed, your discernment heightened, that's not a coincidence. That's heaven's alarm clock ringing. You're waking up. Your spirit is preparing for acceleration. Everything that felt stagnant is about to speed up. What once took years will now come in weeks. Not because you've done something different, but because God has declared, enough. It's time. The people who left you will watch you rise. The voices that once mocked your calling will have no choice but to acknowledge your crown. The battles that seemed never-ending are now bowing to the power of divine timing. You didn't come this far to stay stuck. You didn't survive the fire to live in the ashes. You are walking into divine momentum. You are stepping into a supernatural rhythm that only the chosen ones truly understand. And you, beloved, are one of them. You've always known there was something different about you, didn't you? Even as a child, you were sensitive to things others ignored. You felt the room shift. You heard things in silence. You sensed people's hearts beyond their words. You've carried burdens that weren't yours. You've stood in the gap for people who never prayed for you. And even in your lowest moments, you never lost your awe for God. Even when you felt like giving up, something inside whispered, "Hold on, just a little longer." That whisper, that was the Spirit reminding you that your story isn't over. In fact, it's only just beginning. But here's the secret. God delayed the promise because He was also delaying the counterfeit. Had He moved when you wanted, the wrong people would have come with you. The fake opportunities would have looked real. The immature version of you would have misused the blessing. But now you've been tested, refined, shaken but never destroyed. Your character has been strengthened. Your wisdom has deepened. You've learned how to walk in silence and trust in storms. And because of that, The gates of heaven are opening. Don't mistake the silence of God for the absence of God. He delays to protect. He delays to prepare. He delays to elevate the outcome beyond your imagination. And just when you think he's forgotten, he comes in like a rushing wind, a sudden shift, a divine interruption that changes everything overnight. I can feel it for you. The delay is ending. The drought is breaking. The fire you thought had died in you is being reignited, stronger than ever. Not a spark, a wildfire. Because this next season of your life won't require striving. It will require surrender. You won't chase it. It will come to you. You won't beg for it. It will recognize you. God is moving swiftly now. He held it until the right moment so that when it happens, you'll know, without a doubt, that it wasn't your doing. It was him all along. Chosen one, don't lose heart now. Don't let weariness silence your praise. You've come too far. You've endured too much. The same God who preserved you through the fire is now about to crown you with favor. Every no was setting up the right yes. Every detour was designing a better path. Every loss was making room for something greater. So take a breath. Feel this moment. Let it sink into your bones. You're not the same person you were last year, last month, even last week. God's been doing a hidden work in you, and now he's about to make it public. Get ready, not just emotionally, but spiritually, because when he moves, everything will shift at once. Doors will open, relationships will align, finances will multiply, purpose will clarify, and it's all happening now. But to truly understand where you're going, you have to honor what you've survived. Because the truth is, you didn't just arrive here. You crawled, you bled, you battled through things that would have broken others. And yet here you are, not perfect, not without scars, but stronger, wiser, and still called. There are chapters in your story that only heaven knows in full, nights you couldn't speak about, silent wars no one clapped for, prayers that had no words, just tears. You've been through fires so hot you forgot what peace felt like. The enemy tried to convince you that you'd always live beneath your potential, that you'd always be the overlooked one, the rejected one, the almost but not quite. But he was wrong. He underestimated the glory on your life. He misread the hand of God over your journey. Every spiritual battle you fought, every temptation, every rejection, every delay was a signal. It wasn't punishment. It was proof. Proof that you're carrying something holy, something dangerous to darkness, something precious to heaven. You are a divine threat. That's why the warfare has been so consistent. That's why the betrayal hurt so deeply. Because you weren't all just losing people. You were being disconnected from dead weights that couldn't go with you. You need to hear this. It wasn't personal, it was spiritual. When friends changed, when doors closed, when love turned cold, it wasn't because you weren't enough. It was because your frequency was rising, and those things couldn't breathe where God was taking you. You were being elevated, but elevation often feels like isolation at first. You see, the chosen ones go through a different kind of fire. Our refining is longer. Our warfare is strategic. We're not just battling for ourselves. We carry bloodlines on our back. Cycles are breaking through us. Generational chains are snapping because of our prayers. You've been wondering why your load has felt so heavy. It's because you're carrying deliverance in your DNA. You are not weak. You're a warrior disguised in humility, and the enemy knows it. That's why he's tried to exhaust you, to silence your voice, to make you question if you ever heard God at all. He sent people into your life to confuse your path, to delay your destiny, to dim your fire. But what the enemy forgot is that when God marks someone, no force in hell can unmark them. You've been sealed. You've been protected. Even in the darkest places, God kept a hand on your shoulder. You should have lost your mind, but you didn't. You should have given up, but you kept walking. And now the winds are shifting in your favor. What once felt like opposition is now becoming confirmation, because the devil never attacks what's not valuable. If he's been coming for your mind, your energy, your peace, it's because your anointing is rare. You are heaven's weapon in the earth, a key player in the unfolding divine story, and your presence threatens the kingdom of darkness. That's why they tried to discredit you. That's why the shame clung to your name. That's why they spoke against you before you even found your full voice. But God saw it all, every dagger, every lie, every person who smiled in your face and spoke curses behind your back. He saw the sabotage, the envy, the secret meetings meant to block your blessing. And he allowed it, not to destroy you, but to prove you, to show heaven and hell that what he placed inside you cannot be corrupted. Do you understand what kind of strength that takes? To still show up, to still pour into others, to still pray when your own soul feels empty. That's not weakness. That's divine resilience. That's the signature of someone chosen for something greater. And you, yes, you have passed every test, even the ones you thought you failed. Because it wasn't about perfection, it was about posture. God was never looking for flawless obedience. He was looking for a willing heart. You need to know that your obedience in obscurity is about to be rewarded publicly. Those long seasons of being hidden, when you weren't invited, when you weren't celebrated, when no one saw the work you put in, God saw it, and he's about to honor it. You didn't miss your moment. Your moment was being crafted in secret, and now it's almost here. Your enemies feel it too. That's why they've grown quiet. That's why the ones who used to watch you obsessively have gone silent. There's a trembling in the spirit realm, because when a chosen one awakens to their divine identity, the atmosphere responds. The warfare intensifies just before the breakthrough because the darkness knows its time is short. You're not losing your mind. You're gaining clarity. What used to confuse you now feels beneath you. That's divine growth. That's spiritual elevation. This is why you've had to walk alone. Why you've had to depend on God when people failed you. Because he was teaching you the sound of his voice, not the noise of others' opinions. He wanted you to trust him more than validation. And now you don't even crave applause, you crave purpose. You don't chase crowds, you follow the cloud. That's the mark of someone who's been in the fire and came out refined. You're about to see divine tables being prepared in front of those who counted you out. But hear me carefully, this next level is not about revenge. It's about reveal. God is revealing who he always said you were. You don't need to defend yourself anymore. Let the fruit speak. Let the glory speak. Let the favor speak. Because when God starts moving swiftly, no explanation is necessary. Your life becomes the testimony. So prepare yourself, not just in action, but in expectation. Keep your spirit open, stay available to divine instructions. Be ready to pivot when he says move, because this isn't just breakthrough, it's divine positioning. He's not just lifting you, he's placing you, assigning you, and every spiritual attack was proof that your assignment holds eternal value. You're not just called to shine, you're called to shift atmospheres, to break patterns, to awaken those around you. That's why the enemy hated you. That's why you were always too much for some people, because your light irritated their shadows. But now those shadows can't touch you. God is lifting the veil. He's placing you on a new level, and your only job now is to stay aligned. Don't look back. Don't explain yourself. Don't shrink for the comfort of others. You've been hidden long enough. Now it's time to walk boldly into what you were born for, because the delay is over and God is moving. Let this be the moment you understand what was truly happening all along. Because now God is not just whispering promises in the dark, he's preparing to declare them in the light. Everything that was done in secret is about to be exposed, but not in the way you feared. Not in shame, in glory, in justice, in divine vindication. Because this is the hour where God is flipping the script. The last will be first. The mocked will be honored. The stone the builders rejected is becoming the cornerstone. You, the one who was overlooked, dismissed, laughed at, even disrespected, You are about to be recognized not by man's standard, but by heaven's decree. There's something sacred about delayed justice. It marinates in divine timing. It doesn't rush in to please the impatient. It arrives when it's undeniable. And that's exactly what's coming for you. Undeniable breakthrough. No one will be able to say it was luck. No one will be able to deny the favor that rests on you. The same mouths that cursed you will witness the miracle. The same hands that pointed at your failures will see your elevation and have no words. Don't you feel it in the atmosphere? God is no longer preparing you behind the curtain. He's about to unveil what he built when no one was watching. All those nights you prayed in silence when your heart was shattered, when your faith barely held on, it all counted. God saw it. And now he's answering not just one prayer, but all of them at once. But here's the deeper truth. The delay wasn't just about timing. It was about layers. God wasn't just moving pieces around you. He was healing you from within. He couldn't release the blessing while your heart was still bleeding. He couldn't open the door if you were still carrying unhealed betrayal, unprocessed trauma, unspoken grief. So he delayed it, not to deny you, but to protect the promise. Because this blessing isn't temporary, it's generational, and what's generational must be built on wholeness. He couldn't let you step into the next season still haunted by the last. So he did the slow work, the deep work. He allowed you to be broken so you could be rebuilt with gold in your cracks. He didn't let your heart stay shattered. He held it, piece by piece. He put you back together, not in the image of what others expected, but in the reflection of his own glory. And now, he's about to display that glory. That's why the warfare increased before this moment. That's why your emotions went silent, why your mind felt numb, why everything in you questioned if you were even still chosen. It was the final stretch, the last push before the reveal. And now here you are, tired maybe, weary, sure, but still standing, and that's all God needs to move. Let me tell you something about how heaven works. God waits until it's undeniably him. When your strength is gone, when the network dries up, when the favor from man disappears, then he steps in. Not to embarrass you, but to ensure that no one gets the credit but him. He wanted you to see clearly who was really with you, and now you know. Because when God moves swiftly, he doesn't just open doors, he reverses systems. He rewrites narratives. He silences the enemy with evidence. And right now, your life is being rewritten. What was meant for evil is becoming the stage for your anointing. The places you were shamed will become the places you're celebrated. And the people who counted you out will have to watch you walk in what was always yours. This is not about revenge. This is about restoration. This is the kind of justice that heals. The kind that restores what was stolen, not just physically, but spiritually. Your joy is coming back. Your voice is returning. Your peace is being multiplied. And your purpose? It's being ignited like never before. So if you're listening to this and your heart is trembling, if something deep inside you is rising up, if you feel the tears forming for reasons you can't explain, that's confirmation. That's the spirit within you awakening to the truth it always knew. You were never forgotten. You were always marked. And now your time has come. But with this time comes a new level of responsibility. You're not stepping into just any blessing. You're stepping into kingdom alignment. What you carry will impact people. Your obedience matters. Your posture matters. This next chapter won't just elevate you, it will expose you to both light and shadow. Be ready to stand firm in your identity. Be rooted not in applause, but in presence, not in clout, but in calling. This is a holy moment, and you can feel it. The shift is so near, it's like breathing in thunder. Everything around you is responding to your rising. Even the people you've never met, strangers, are being assigned to bless you. Divine connections are forming. Unexpected doors are being prepared, and it's all because God delayed it for this exact moment. He waited until your roots were deep, until your discernment was sharp, until your heart could steward what he was about to pour. And now, it's pouring. This is your confirmation. You don't need to beg God anymore, just walk. Move in faith. Stay open. Your destiny is not coming, it's here, and the signs are all around you. Repeated numbers, divine dreams, old people reappearing just as closure settles in, your appetite for certain things shifting. These are not coincidences, they are the spiritual signals of acceleration. Let this speak to your bones. You are walking into a season where every day will feel like a new layer of revelation. The veil is lifting, the fog is clearing, and the Spirit is moving swiftly, intentionally, with you at the center of heaven's assignment. It's time to prepare your table, because God is about to serve justice on it. Justice for the lost years, justice for the broken relationships, justice for the misuse, the betrayal, the stolen opportunities. It's all coming back, not the same but multiplied, transformed, glorified. And when it comes, don't shrink, don't doubt, don't run, receive it. Because this moment is not a mistake. This delay was not denial, it was setup, divine strategy. And now the divine response has been released. Victory is not a hope, it's your reality. Stand in it, speak it, declare it over your life with holy boldness. I am the chosen one. The delay was divine, and now God is moving for me swiftly. Let's go deeper now, because everything you've been through, the pain, the resistance, the strange patterns, the spiritual heaviness, was not random. No, chosen one, there was a strategy behind the suffering, a divine paradox hidden in plain sight. You weren't attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you were carrying something heaven ordained that hell feared. Look at your life not just as a sequence of events, but as a battlefield of purpose. Why did the enemy try to silence you so young? Why did he send rejection at every stage of your development? Why were you surrounded by people who could not fully see or celebrate you? Because the more invisible you felt, the more dangerous you were becoming to the forces of darkness. They couldn't kill your purpose, so they tried to distort your perception of it. And this is where it gets deep. Your attacks were prophetic clues. Each one pointed to the exact area of your divine calling. If the enemy targeted your voice, it's because you're meant to speak truth that shatters strongholds. If he attacked your identity, it's because you were born to awaken generations. If your relationships were always filled with betrayal, it's because your love carries healing oil that terrifies broken spirits. You see, the spiritual realm has always known who you were, even before you did. That's why the attacks started early. That's why confusion tried to make you question your own value. And that's why it felt like you were constantly swimming upstream while others coasted by. Because the chosen ones are not called to blend in. They are designed to confront, to interrupt generational patterns, to be the divine contradiction. Let me explain something that most never speak about. God often hides his greatest warriors in plain sight, not because they're not ready, but because he needs them protected. He'll allow them to walk through failure, loss, and silence so that their anointing can't be exploited, so that their wisdom isn't rushed, so that their fire isn't wasted on the wrong platform. That's you. God hid you, not to punish you, but to preserve you. And yes, it hurt. Being unseen, being misunderstood, being constantly misjudged. But it was all part of the training. He was teaching you how to hear his voice above the noise. He was breaking your addiction to approval. He was molding your spirit into one that cannot be moved by flattery or fear. You were being forged into something eternal, unshakable, uncompromising, deeply rooted in truth. Now, here's the paradox. The deeper your calling, the more intense your contradictions. That's why your life never made sense. You were always in between worlds, too spiritual for the crowd, too real for the religious. You longed for depth, while others settled for shallow. You desired truth, while others chased trends. You felt heavy in rooms that felt light to others. Why? Because your soul was tuned to heaven's frequency even before you knew the lyrics. Chosen ones are designed to live in tension, carrying the weight of heaven while walking through the shadows of earth. That's why you felt like you didn't belong. You weren't meant to. You were sent, not planted. You're not a product of this world. You're a disruption to it. And that disruption has always drawn opposition. Spiritually, psychologically, relationally, because your very presence exposes what others are hiding. You walk into a room and people feel confronted, not because you said anything, but because the light you carry highlights their own shadows. You weren't rejected because of who you are. You were rejected because of what you reveal. That's why people projected their wounds onto you. That's why they tried to minimize your greatness. That's why they took from you but never poured back. They saw the light but couldn't handle its heat. You became a mirror, and mirrors make the broken uncomfortable. But hear this clearly. It wasn't your job to shrink so others could breathe easier. It's your mission to stay fully lit, fully alive, fully aligned, because this world doesn't need more shadows. It needs more light carriers, more awakened spirits. And that's you. And here's the most powerful truth of all. The attacks didn't destroy you. They refined you. What you thought was meant to kill you was actually pulling greatness out of you. The betrayal developed discernment. The silence taught you to stand alone. The rejection pointed you toward divine direction. You didn't just survive it, you evolved through it. So now the question is no longer, why did I go through it? The real question is, what did it awaken in me? Because you're not the same person you were before the delay. You're wiser, sharper, spiritually lethal. You can now see through manipulation. You can sense counterfeit before it speaks. You recognize truth because you bled for it. You've been entrusted with a rare anointing, a fire that doesn't burn out in adversity, a spirit that doesn't fold under pressure. And now God is calling you to use it, not just to rise, but to build something eternal, to impact lives, to shift atmospheres, to walk in purpose so fully that even your silence speaks. And let me tell you something else. You were never meant to fit in because you were meant to set apart. Your mind doesn't think like others. All of that's not by accident, that's by design. So yes, the pain was real. The delay was frustrating, but it birthed something holy in you. And now, as the heavens begin to align, as God begins to move swiftly on your behalf, everything starts to make sense. Every closed door was divine protection. Every delay was strategic positioning. Every loss was creating space for what you were always meant to carry. Chosen one, this is your soul's mission. To rise, to reveal, and to restore, to wake up the slumbering, to break what has bound your bloodline, to speak with fire, walk in humility, and love without compromise. You are the fulfillment of prayers prayed generations before you were born. You are the continuation of a covenant your ancestors never saw completed. That's why the warfare was so intense. It wasn't about just you, it was about legacy. So, don't shrink now, don't second-guess your power. You were forged in the shadows to be released in glory. Your time has arrived, the delay has expired, and the heavens are roaring on your behalf. Take a deep breath, chosen one. Let everything you've just heard settle into your spirit, not just as inspiration, but as divine confirmation. You've walked through the fire, you've stood in silence, you've waited, wept, worshipped, and now heaven is responding. The delay is over. God is moving swiftly, and this time, He's doing it openly. Everything in your spirit already knows this. That quiet stirring, that holy pressure rising in your chest, that's the confirmation. You're not just hearing words, you're feeling prophecy manifesting inside of you. Because this isn't a prediction, this is a revelation. You are the chosen one. You are the one the enemy tried to stop, the one they tried to silence, the one they overlooked and misjudged, not realizing you were God's hidden weapon. And now Now the hidden is becoming revealed. You don't need to explain yourself anymore. You don't need to prove your worth. God is about to make the announcement for you, the kind that cannot be faked, manufactured, or denied. He's placing His glory on your life in a way that cannot be stolen or suppressed. Not this time. What's coming now is tailor-made, heaven-sealed, and marked with divine speed. You'll look up and everything will be different. Opportunities that once ignored you will chase you. Rooms that excluded you will be rearranged to include your presence at the head table. The very places where you were wounded will become altars of victory. And not because you manipulated anything, but because you endured with integrity. You stayed faithful when it didn't make sense. You kept showing up when no one clapped. You kept praying when you didn't feel a thing, and God saw it all, and now He's about to repay you openly. Because when He moves, He does it in a way that makes up for every tear, every delay, every betrayal, with interest. Let this sink in deeply. You don't have to fight anymore for what's already yours. This is not a season of proving. This is a season of possessing, of stepping into the fullness of your anointing without shame or fear, of walking like the royal, radiant child of God you've always been. No more shrinking, no more second-guessing, no more entertaining what doesn't honor the call on your life. This is the shift you've been feeling. That holy discontent, that divine discomfort with the old. You've outgrown places, people, habits, and even mindsets that no longer align with where God is taking you. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. Don't apologize for evolving. Don't apologize for choosing peace over pressure, purpose over popularity, truth over convenience. You are stepping into a version of yourself that was always there, just hidden beneath survival mode. But now survival is over. You're entering into authority, spiritual authority, mental clarity, emotional freedom, and financial provision, not just for you, but for others assigned to your life. So here's what I want you to do. Breathe, and release every fear, every lie, every voice that tried to convince you it was too late. It's not too late. It was delayed for a reason, because the promise required preparation. The blessing needed a foundation. And now that it's here, you won't fumble it. You won't self-sabotage. You won't run back to what broke you. You are not who you used to be. You're healed. You're whole. You're chosen. Say this out loud with me, right where you are. I am the chosen one. The delay was divine. The warfare refined me. And now God is moving swiftly, surely, powerfully for me. Say it again until your soul believes it. Because every time you speak it, heaven moves. Every time you declare it, chains break. Every time you choose faith over fear, the old loses power. You are not under attack anymore. You are under release. You are not chasing anymore. You are receiving, and you are not alone. You were never alone. Even in your darkest nights, God was sitting with you. Even in your most painful silences, the Spirit was interceding on your behalf. And even when your heart didn't understand the delay, your destiny was still right on schedule. This is the moment where it all begins to make sense. Every no was protecting a bigger yes. Every loss was clearing space for legacy. Every lonely season was preparing you to carry the weight of divine responsibility. So now, walk forward, not with anxiety, but with assurance. You are covered, you are called, and you are being carried into a future so full of glory, even your past will bow to it. Don't look back, don't doubt the shift. Just move with God. He is moving swiftly. Stay in rhythm. Stay in surrender. And when it happens, when the overflow begins, when the calls come, when the doors swing open and the blessings drop like rain, remember to worship. Not because you're desperate, but because you're grateful. Worship because you endured. Worship because you're alive. Worship because God kept every promise, even the ones you forgot you prayed for. This isn't the end of your story. It's the resurrection of your calling, the unveiling of your identity, the fulfillment of heaven's timing. It's the season you'll look back on and say, that was the moment everything shifted. That was the season God moved swiftly on my behalf. So rise, step forward, speak boldly, love deeply, move faithfully. You are not waiting anymore, you are walking into it. God delayed it for a reason, but now He's moving swiftly, and you are ready. I'll see you on the other side of the breakthrough. Stay aligned, stay awakened, stay chosen, and above all, stay in Him.